Well, the first game of the semifinal for the MLS's back tournament is finished, and boy, oh boy, we had some controversy in this game. Now, if you're a Union fan, I understand that you are going to be very upset about this game, and you felt like you got robbed in this game with what happened in the latter part of the game that had decision gone against you. And if you're a Timbers fan, I'm guessing you're probably thanking the linesman and also VAR, and especially thanking Sergio Santos of what he did during this game. Now, in the first half, the first big opportunity came in the 10th minute when Sebastian Blanco had a shot from 22 yards out that Andre Blake was able to make a great save to keep this one at 0-0. But literally at the very next play, Ibobasi scores from Diego Valeri, and I thought that was some very poor corner marking from the Union, especially from Kai Wagner, that basically allowed Ibobasi to able to hit that one into the back of the net. And the Timbers grabbed an early 1-0 lead in this game. Now, I also want to mention that this is the first time that the Unions have went behind during this tournament, which is kind of remarkable. The fact that they have never went behind throughout this tournament, and that this is the first time they have to deal with adversity, which it seemed like throughout this game they didn't deal with that very well. And I thought Portland started to go with their usual shape, which is sit back, and that they were basically letting the Union have all the ball and pretty much asking them to see if they can break them down, which the Union couldn't. And they also are able to take advantage of some of the mistake that the Union have, like give the ball away in the midfield where they just quickly go on the transition to trying to maybe score another goal. And in the 39th minute, they almost scored the second one when Cristobal almost scored a highlight reel goal from 31 yards out. Well, actually, it was 30 yards out, but unfortunately, it just went wide off the post. And I thought the Timbers looked like they were the better side in the first half, and that they had more of the chances compared to the Union. But as soon as I wrote that, literally a seconds later, Sebastian Blanco brought down Montero in the box, and that it was a penalty for the Union at that point. Now, I feel like that was a soft penalty. I feel like there was definitely not a lot of contact between Blanco and Montero, and in some way, Montero kind of sold that one a little bit. But nevertheless, this was a big opportunity for the Union to get the equalizer. And throughout this tournament, whenever there is a big opportunity and there's a big moment for the Union, they have stepped up throughout this tournament. And hence, this is why they are at this point in the semifinal. But unfortunately, in this game, they didn't do that. Sergio Santos, who, as I mentioned earlier, that Timbers fans probably would want to thank him, is because he blasted that one over the bar on the penalty, and that was probably the worst penalty we have seen so far in this tournament. And you could even argue that probably is the worst penalty if you even include the penalty kick shootout and some of the bad penalty that was made. But at the same time, you can also say the ball don't lie in that instant, because again, Timbers fan will feel like that looked like it was a soft penalty, and that this was just a classic example that ball clearly don't lie. Now, heading into the second half, again, the Timbers, they elected to sit back and let the Union have all the possession to try to break them down, and once again, the Union couldn't find a way to break down the Timbers bunker. The Timbers, though, they also once again had a lot of chances, but they couldn't quite capitalize. They had a couple of one-on-one opportunity, but unfortunately, when they tried to hit it off of that one-on-one opportunity, it goes straight into Andre Blake. Then Blake made another good save to deny Polo of a second for the Portland Timbers. But just like the first goal when Blake made an incredible save to concede a corner, the very next play, the Timbers once again score. And this time, it's none other than Sebastian Blanco score from Zabarich and Valeri. Once again, poor corner defending from the Union again. And the fact that Blanco was just wide open in the back post like that. Like, if you leave Blanco wide open like that, who is pretty much the MVP for the Timbers and probably going to be the MVP of this tournament if the Portland Timbers win this tournament, yeah, you deserve to lose this game, and you deserve to definitely concede a goal in that instant, because Blanco is not going to miss from that range, especially how hot he's been during this tournament. Now, in the 79th minute, Steve Clark would deny Shibilko a chance to get back into this game. And unlike Blanco, who has been red hot throughout this tournament, Shibilko, on the other hand, is the opposite. I mean, if that was a Shibilko that was confident and definitely informed, I think he would have buried this one away and that the Union would have got back into this game. But the good news for the Union is that they did eventually get back into this game in the 85th minute when Andrew Wooten, which I believe this is actually his first ever goal for the Union, to able to get one back for the Union at that point. Clark did make a good save on the free kick, but unfortunately he just pairs it right into Wooten, who basically just easily tapped it into the empty net. And as I said, the Union have a lifeline in these last 5 minutes, and this is where the controversy begins, and this is where Union's fan is going to be very angry about this moment, and that this is the moment they feel like they got robbed in this game. Literally a couple of seconds after Wooten put the ball into the back of net, Shibilko actually looked like scored the equalizer for the Philadephia Union, but it was disallowed because of offside. Now, the linesman immediately raised the flag as soon as Shibilko scored the goal, but obviously, even though that is the case, I had a feeling that they were going to go to VAR in terms of that instant, because that definitely looked like very close. And they showed 2 replays doing that. They showed the replay on the field, and it definitely looked like that might have a chance of getting overturned. And then when they show the overhead camera, yeah, that one definitely had a chance to get overturned because of the fact that it definitely looked like Shibilko was just onside and just online with the last defender. But they did try to check it to see whether or not if this is offside, and in the end they said it was not clear and obvious to overturn, and the goal, of course, was disallowed. And again, throughout this tournament, VAR has been very inconsistent, and it's always been the case in MLS, where there's times where you see things that is clear and obvious on the replay, and they don't give it. But then when there's time when it's not clear and obvious, they actually give it. And this is kind of some of the most frustrating thing about MLS, and probably some of the most frustrating things supporting a team in MLS, because you're going to have these moments where it could really be a decisive moment in the game, and especially in a semi-final like this. I was really hoping we're getting into a stage where these controversy moment and the inconsistency of VAR is not going to really determine the result of this game and can really turn the game. And I feel like this was a moment where, have Shibilko's goals withstand, this would have been at 2-2, and the Union would really feel very confident heading into this, and we would have probably set up a very exciting last 5 minutes in this game. But instead, that was not meant to be, and the Timbers, fortunately, are still up 2-1 after that point. The Union, of course, they were pushing for the equalizer, but the Timbers did a good job to defend for the last 5 minutes and just survive to make it into the final and become the first team to reach the final of this MLS is Back tournament. Now, in terms of shots in this game, 17 shots compared to 15 that the Timbers had, 8 shots on goal compared to 7 that the Timbers had, 8 shots off target compared to 5 that the Timbers had, 1 shot that was blocked compared to 3 that the Timbers had, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that the Portland Timbers had. And again, if you're a Union fan, I mean, as much as I know they're going to be angry about the fact that they got robbed in this game because of that moment in the 86th minute, I kind of feel like the Timbers deserve to win this game. Especially, I feel like throughout this game, the Union clearly did not learn the same mistake that NYCFC did when they play against the Timbers in the last game. Because the number one rule when you're playing against the Portland Timbers is you do not let them just sit back and defend, and that you got to put away your chances if they're going to play like this. Because if you don't do it, and you being very toothless, and you make a mistake in terms of giving the ball away in the midfield, like what we saw the Union did throughout this game, you are going to be punished. And we've seen it happen twice in this game. And also, let's not to mention that Union was very poor in terms of defending corners and defending set pieces in this game, something that we haven't really seen that much of a problem for the Union throughout this tournament. And that I thought the Timbers, if they were just be a little bit more clinical in this game, they could have easily put this game away. And that we have seen times where the Timbers haven't been very clinical, despite the fact that they had the chance that they have so far in most of these games in the tournament. But the good news for the Timbers is that they just do enough to make it into the next round, and just able to survive enough in the end to make it to the next round. And now it's going to be interesting to see who are they going to be facing in the final. And I'm pretty sure if you're a Portland Timbers fan and you asking would you rather face Minnesota in the final or Orlando City, I'm pretty sure they're going to say Orlando City. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do not want to see the Loons in the final, especially knowing what has happened in the last couple of meetings when the Timbers play against the Loons, and that, yeah, the Loons absolutely owned the Timbers in the last couple of games, and that maybe the only reason I feel like Timbers fans want to play against the Loons is that they want some revenge for that U.S. Open Cup semifinal game. But at the same time, I don't think that's a very good matchup, not only in the past history, but also the way that the way that this game, the final could be, because you're gonna have two counter-attacking team, and you know that the Loons and Adrian Heath, if they do get to the final and face against the Portland Timbers, they're going to do exactly the same thing they did earlier this season, which is just going to sit back and let the Timbers to see if they can break them down, and just going to hit them on the counter-attacking. Pretty much Adrian Heath is just going to give Giovanni Savarese another taste of his medicine if that fixture is going to happen. So, I'm pretty sure the Timbers are going to be an Orlando City fan tomorrow when they watch the Loons play. But for my sake, since I'm a Loons fan, I'm definitely excited to see how tomorrow's game is, and I'm kind of a little bit nervous about how tomorrow's game is going to be, because Orlando City is definitely not a joke tomorrow, and we shall see whether or not if they can make it to the final to once again face against the Portland Timbers in this MLS is back tournament final. But that being said, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And I kind of got a little bit sidetracked in terms of talk about tomorrow's game too. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.